Hello everyone, welcome back to Bombe, teaching the computer to play Minecraft. Minesweeper, got myself again. I think this is going to be the last video in this game. It's, it's not like we're finished, and indeed we'll never be finished. There are levels that people think probably are not solvable with the tools the game gives you, as we've discussed previously. There's been, I don't know. It just takes more time to figure out what every rule is, to isolate what's going on, longer than I want to spend on, a single puzzle on camera, basically. And I feel like I've gotten through, most of the interesting concepts in the game and in Minesweeper. I'm sure there are more, but, I'm not dying to do more of them. But I had a few, I played a fair bit off camera in between the last video and this one, just kind of looking at things that seemed interesting. And I think the biggest hurdle left for me really is optimizing my rules, where I'm writing down a bunch of stuff that's true, and that leads to a conclusion eventually, but it's very slow because it goes down a lot of dead ends. So retesting my rules on new level sets takes a long time because it takes forever to churn through all these garbage rules I'm generating. Anyway, so why are we looking at this level? And I have it paused, in fact, so it doesn't generate the regions yet. I haven't actually seen what's going to happen when I hit play, but this level is interesting because when I was kind of churning my existing rules through the levels, I noticed that some of them, we've already said there's some that have a solve rate of 0. I noticed that some of them had a solve rate of 0, and I got a check mark on them, which I asked in the Discord to double check. Does that really mean I was the first one to solve this puzzle? And you can see this number is going up every second, which is, oh my god. So, yes, a 0, they say. The game never rounds down to 0. So a 0% means nobody's ever solved that level. Now, the levels, I'm playing in 3 region mode. So this means no one had ever solved the level in 3 region mode. Now that I have solved it, the number is not 0 anymore. But this was the first one I noticed where it was 0 for a little while, and then I got a check mark on it. The percent, they call this the pass rate, and I had a 25-minute long discussion in Discord. I was like, what the heck does, what does pass rate mean? Was a follow-up from my question about, does 0% really mean I was the first? And it's this, very confusing metric. It doesn't mean, 1.34% of players have finished this level, or 1.34% of players who have tried this level have passed it. You can see it's creeping up. It's this, super weird thing where, every minute, everyone's game who's on sends the server a list of all the levels they've ever finished. And the server, averages those. Okay, I've gotten 1,000 reports of level 191 in this set in 3 region mode. And only one person's ever solved it, so it's 0.1%. No. And of those 1,000 reports, 5 of them were from the one guy who solved it. So that's 5 out of 1,000, 0.5%. And so, if you leave your game on, it's dragging pass rates of every level in the world towards your pass rate, either 1 or 0 for them. Now, of course, there are other people playing, so I'm not having some massive effect. On this one, though, I might still be the only one to have solved it. Every minute I'm solving this, it's going up by 0.01%. So maybe I could just leave the computer on long enough. No, because other people playing would drag it down. I don't know. So anyway, very weird pass rate. It still does a good job, I think, of estimating difficulty, but I wouldn't call this anything like pass rate. Doesn't matter. Point is, I was the first one to do this level, and pass rate is confusing. So I just wanted to see on this level if I could understand what key insight we had that makes this level work. So I don't know. Also, a thing I hadn't noticed until I looked at levels like this is, so these infinite ones, I looked at the first few and was like, oh, they're tiling, that's cute. Where if you go from we had like a 3x3 grid, and then like the square to the right of this one is just this again, that kind of thing. There's also apparently these infinitely nested recursive levels where like what's in here is another copy of the whole level. So that's interesting. I don't really know how that would all work. Wow, why have we put 0 pluses in there already? Oh, no, that doesn't say 0 plus. It says 0 or 1. It's a little hard to see. Okay, so it's just getting that from there being a 1-2 with a mine next to it. Fine. So it's going to populate all this stuff, put in a bunch of regions based on all the clues, and then our... I mean, I don't know. We're probably not going to actually get to watch in real time and understand which clue was which rule was the interesting one. I don't know, just how much work does this end up doing? It comes up with a lot of ideas and then throws some of them away. Says, you know, trashes them or whatever. Ah, it goes all the way across the universe there. So yeah, watching this, I really have no idea what rules are triggering that are important. There's just flashes of light and color everywhere. But I wanted to see if it gets like, I mean, it's getting pretty bogged down in that like there's a ton of regions that probably have no clear purpose. And it's generating and trashing a ton of regions. So this is the kind of thing we could work on, is we spend a bunch of time making regions and then we throw them away if they aren't interesting. It would be better to just not make them. Interesting. Okay, well, carry on, I guess. Yeah, see, here's where it gets stuck, I guess, right? It's just generating a ton of stuff. And I guess at some point it makes a breakthrough? This is like a laser show. Okay, I don't actually think it... Yeah, it can't go faster. This is... It's actually, like, running as fast as it can, I guess. Just generating garbage. I gotta say, I know that I have this level solved with my set of rules, but this doesn't look promising, right? Would it be better if I weren't watching? Still seems pretty slow. So one of the reason I thought it would be worth looking at this at all is like, yeah, see this rule, like it triggers a ton and usually doesn't make any progress. So like these two rules, I wrote, oh, it solved something. And now suddenly everything's falling like dominoes, right? Yeah. Huh. So, I don't know. It's, the answer is no. Looking at this set of rules, I have no idea which one was the important one. I do know some that were, like, very noisy, right? Here, I'm, like, I wonder... Like, on a fairly small number of my rules, I've included things in the rule itself, constraints that aren't necessary for the logic to hold, but that I hope might stop it from generating useless regions. For example, well, this one maybe? No. I don't know. There are some around here. I don't know which ones. But I wonder if it might be interesting. So first of all, like, I could take this rule. Actually, can I pause it? I think you can pause a rule and say, so like if I were to say solve this level again, which you can't do by hitting refresh regions, you have to go to a different level and then come back here and select level 196 again. Wait, is it not 196? 191. So I believe it should now, like, not solve, because I removed... Yeah. That region that I removed, or the rule that I've paused, has caused it to dead end. It got nowhere. So what I want to do is see, could I limit this rule so it triggers less often, but still triggers in the important cases? So, like, for example, could I say only bother doing this if there's a non-zero overlap with a positive rule? Like, putting in minuses helps most when there's a positive rule nearby, right? So I think I have to put a 0 there, right? And maybe here as well? Yeah, okay. Actually, I think since there's a question mark here, I think a question mark here should be fine as well, right? Yeah. So basically saying... Oh, shoot. Did I meant to duplicate the rule and then edit the copy. And then if I like the results, delete the original. But instead I'm editing the original, I guess. That's fine. Oh, wait, that says 0. Okay, that should be question mark. No, it should be 1 or more. So a non-zero overlap with this. And this question mark, I mean... I guess that's fine. So let's write that rule and unpause it. Set it back to low priority. And it gets us over the hurdle we were stuck on, right? It still generates a ton of rules, regions, which I guess makes sense because the whole board is littered with positive regions, right? It's not like a huge shocker that this can find some positive regions to interact with. But if this still solves, then at least we will have reduced how often this rule triggers. Is this actually making things worse? Because I've now made this region span a larger area. No, I guess that's still fine. Well, but it potentially creates even more regions, doesn't it? I mean, well, no, sorry. It's the same number of regions, but there's way more places... No. It actually looks like it might not be solving anymore. Which seems surprising. I get that this is adding a new constraint. I mean, it hasn't dead-ended yet. It's still generating more regions. But I'm pretty sure this has generated more than what we had before. So I guess, like, my understanding of this would be that I was trying to stop it from triggering in cases where well, okay, let's pause again. I was trying to stop it from triggering in cases where this Y or fewer won't be necessary, like where it won't help. And I said, oh, let's make sure it interacts with a K or more. But there are also more places, like there are more triples of intersections than there are pairs of more triples of regions than there are pairs of regions, right? Now, of course, you know, a triple of regions intersecting could be less common than a pair of regions intersecting. But if we're like generating regions all over the place, we should find intersects fairly often. So I guess the problem is sort of that, like, let's update that rule and refresh and see if it's any better. It's probably not, but just in case. And then I'll probably just like delete this region from the rule and give up. So I don't really understand how to optimize this game. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to stop the series, is that to test my new ideas, I was like double clicking on, you know, puzzle sets, and it just takes hours to go through all the levels with the rules that I've written. You don't have to go through all the levels all the time, but it's nice to see which ones you've made progress on and what new sticking points you might have. I sort of wish I had noted somewhere how many times this triggered before becoming useful, right? Because then I could see whether we're past that point and we've actually made things worse instead of better, or if we just need to wait a while longer for it to finish solving. I feel like the screen looked even worse than this when we solved, so I'll wait around for a bit. But after this, I believe there are some areas left over where, you know, a new rule, you know, where I was checking through levels looking for stuff that wasn't done yet, and I found some places where it's like, oh yeah, a rule that's not too complicated could work here. I even had an idea for something this morning. Oh, what was it? It was based on looking at someone else's... That's right, someone posted a puzzle to the Discord and asked for help on it, and I was like, oh, there's kind of an interesting interaction there that I'm not sure if any of my rules cover. They probably do, but maybe not. So, the rules that I've added since the last time, I don't really know for sure. I think I wrote this one on camera, right? Or at least showed it off in the last episode, because it was the first time I used 4 variables. I haven't really done a lot more. Was this on camera where, like... What the hell is this? Oh, I think this was a specific one written in response to a specific level that I didn't have a good way to generalize that I could see. Where, like... Oh yeah, this was for, like, chaining even regions that are contained within a parity tracked region. Like, yeah. I don't think I did this on camera. There was a level that had 2 plus 2k, and it covered, like, all of the interesting squares, of which there were 4. And for every... So there are only, like, 4 squares in the whole puzzle that matter, and they're all covered with this rule. And for every pair of 2 cells, you could also derive a parity rule for that pair. So every pair of cells had parity even, right? And so you can reason that if none of these are on, if they're all empty, yeah, we clearly are not solving the puzzle this way, huh? Okay. Well, shoot. Which was the one I just edited that was good? Was it this one? It's one of the low priority ones. It wasn't this. Because it had a kappa minus, right? Or a kappa plus in it or something. Let's sort by... Actually, just sort by number of times applied on this level. I'm sure it'll be the big problem. This one. So if I remove that, edit, remove, update, and restart the regions while we're talking about this other rule. Right. So if none of these two or mores have a mine in them, then you won't have enough for the 2 plus... Sorry, if none of these 2Ks have a mine, then you don't have anything for the 2 plus 2K. Oh, wait a minute, it's stuck. It ran out of ideas. But I just put the rule back to where it was before, right? Uh-oh. Which rule was it? No! I can no longer solve this level. I thought... Well, okay, I mean, I'll be able to find it. I remember what region it defines. What? Oh, right, it was a 2-region rule that I adjusted to be a 3-region rule. So I shouldn't be looking at the 3s at all. This one? Oh, did I put a 1 there? No. Is this right? What the fuck is this? X plus Y or fewer of size 1? Shouldn't that just be of any size? Okay, weird. That's an improvement. But it doesn't help with the current level. So it was when... Wasn't this? Was it? Oh no. Well, I mean, good news. It's on camera. Unlike some other poor sap who did this off camera, I can just refer to the footage to get the rule back. Okay, so I guess I just won't worry about it. I'll go find it and put it back later. Well, but it's kind of important because if I want to look at these other levels and see if there's something I could do to... Oh, I solved it. Maybe... Wait a minute. I thought I'd already solved this one. Maybe not. Maybe the change that I made from 1 to question mark just now was enough? Maybe that's what did it? I don't know. Could I find out? What, Show me what cleared lines on this level, please. I don't know. I'm not even going to recognize the one that I... Oh, it was this one, right? This used to say 1, and now it says... No. It had an X and a 0, 0, and an X plus Y, right? Or it had like X or more, and an X plus Y or fewer? It's kind of the same as this, isn't it? I guess not. Here it is, this one. It didn't trigger at all, so I don't know what's going on. This level was already solved, but I hadn't looked at it recently. So like here, is there some hint that I could get that would be useful? Interesting that these multiple fewer rules are relevant. Usually you have an alternation between fewers and mores. What is happening here? I guess the issue is if I put a mine here, then I can't put a mine here or here, which means this 2 needs to put a mine here. And now this 2 is completely full, and I can't put a mine here, and this 1 is broken. So this would have to be a 1 or more. I could go get the 1 or more and fix it, but it also currently involves 4 regions to run into the conflict. So I'd have to find a way to reduce it to 3, which would mean making more regions. I guess that's another reason that things are running slowly for me, is that anytime there's something that you would need to do with 4 regions, I have to make another region for it, and so I make a lot of new regions, I guess. I'll forgive myself that. Even if in a lot of cases I'm just making new regions because it seems fun. So like the more pure version of this rule would be to bring this out front and this out front, right? Banish you, banish you. And hint tells us, yes, you can still solve this. And now it's framed more in the kind of popular sense we understand of alternating mores and fewers. I don't know why before it didn't seem like it was, but it definitely is now. I thought I had some, like, sort of general tool for dealing with this. This is like one of the challenges in this game that I want. I want a general tool that solves, you know, this kind of problem by introducing a new region. Like, I don't know. I don't think with any 3 rules I can conclude that there must be a mine here. But with 3 of the regions, I think I should be able to create a 4th region, or another region, that would short-circuit one of these, right? Like, yeah. I think this is what I saw in someone's puzzle this morning, where I was like, wait a minute, do I already have something for handling this? I feel like I should. Because I think what you can do is kind of say, oh, there's these 2 X or fewers, and there's a total budget of 3 mines at most in these 5 squares. Quite possibly fewer than 3. For example, if you put 1 here, you would only have a budget of 1 more. But there's definitely at most 3. And at least one of them is consumed here. So what you should be able to do is put a 2 or fewer that, like, is where these 2 are touching but aren't part of this, right? And in this case, that would be 2 or fewer in these 3. Which, with a 1 or more here, would that do something? Maybe. It would put a 1 or fewer here. I mean, I guess. Actually, I have this 2 or fewer. Where did you come from? Yes, exactly from this rule that I was just imagining. Okay. So, interesting. So I thought I already had that general rule, And if I thought I might have that general rule, but if I didn't have it, it seemed like a good thing to write. And it turns out I do have it, and it doesn't help here. Or maybe it does. Maybe I could get rid of some of these and bring that one back. That's actually interesting. Oops. Suppose I said, give me back this 2 or fewer. Hint mode, I assume is going to... I see. So hint mode, when you set the visibility of a region manually, hint mode won't touch it. And so when I hit hint, it was saying, even with that one around, I can't take away any of the others. And I can't take away that one because you marked it as special. Now I can mark it as unspecial, and hint will hide it again and tell me it doesn't matter. Okay. So apparently that's not part of anything here. But I mean, it could be, right? It could be part of creating a new region that would be useful somehow. In this case, though, it would just result in a 1 or fewer on this cell, which doesn't help, obviously, because there's only space for 1 to begin with. Alright, I don't see anything obvious going on here. It might just be that you need 4 regions to handle this, but I don't think that's true. Like... because it's not just that there's at most 2 in this region. It's also that if there's 1 here, then there's at most 1 in this region, which would give me an exactly 1 clue, which I assume, well, I already have that. But the intersection of these 3 rules, what I'm getting at is that the intersection of these 3 rules tells us more than just that there are 2 or fewer in these 3 cells. It tells us this cell is special as well in some way. But I don't see a way to write that down. Huh. Alright, let's move on and look at another puzzle. I feel like I've seen this one before. It wouldn't surprise me, right? What's going on here? Seems like it would be awfully hard for this 1 or 4 to be a 4, because you could only have 1 here, right? The other 3 would all have to be up here. That actually seems fine. Maybe it would be hard for it to be a 1, actually. Huh. If it were a 1, its interaction with these 2s would be kind of interesting, right? So there'd be at most 1 of these 2, and at most 1 of these 2, but like more than that, right? Because there'd be only 1 in this whole region, which is impossible, right? Because you only have space for 2 outside, and there's 4 total mines. Like, there's 4 total mines in this connected group of 2s. Like, if we put them together, right? If we made a new region connecting these 2, it would definitely be like, oh, that's a region of size 4. I mean, that's one thing we could do. We could make that a region of size 4. Is that interesting? I worry that that would lead to region explosion very quickly on a lot of levels, but on this level, it seems like maybe it would help. Because... well, now wait a minute. there should already be a 1 or more here, right? And a 1 or more here? Yeah. Bring this to the front, bring this to the front. This is sort of the key thing to notice. Oops, not here, but here. And we don't even, if I ask hint mode, why do I need this? Oh, I see, because maybe I can't mark any specific squares this way. But as soon as I can prove that this 1 or 4 is a 4, then that'll ripple through into the 1 or more that they were putting here to let me actually, 1 or fewer that they put here to let me actually mark some cells. So I guess what we should do then, yeah, this is sort of like what I was thinking before, but makes a little bit more sense. It still might lead to some region explosion, but I think it's at least justifiable. As long as these two, like if we have, I don't even care what kind of region this is. Actually, you know what? Let's say that it should only happen for kappa or fewer. Just so that we don't like glue together X or more regions without at least having some good reason. And we know there is a 4 or fewer here, so this will trigger. As long as they don't, let's see, as long as they don't intersect or have a way to put a mine outside of the containing region. So I think all these zeros are important for my plan. If I have kappa or sorry, X or more, and Y or more contained within the same region, then there's kind of a new X plus Y. Oops, that's not how you do that. X plus Y or more region inside, right? So if we slow this down, we'll see that makes a 4, and eventually we solve it. It looks like it's solving this one too, sort of roundabout. Maybe? No. Any chance we solved this with that new idea? Probably not, right? Because that ended up revolving around some chain. Oh. Yeah, and then it finds... Oh, it solves it. Nice. So this one, yeah, it did. It cleared 1 cell in this area, and that was enough to make everything happen. Very cool. So it gets this far. Well, we clearly don't need this clue because the 1 and the 1 or fewer already give us that. This is it, huh? This doesn't seem to have the characteristic I was talking about before and have talked about many times with the alternating mores and fewers, right? Because there's this 1 or fewer and 1 or fewer here. Huh. I mean, what are we supposed to do here? I guess it's this 0, 3 is obviously the focal point. Whether it's 0 or 3 will have a huge impact on the whole puzzle. If it's 3, then like we know there's no mines here or here or here. So these three can't be mines if it's a 3. I guess that's what's going on. Because if... Well, no. Hang on. I was going to... So, if it's a 3, there can't be a mine here. And there is one there and there. And there can't be any of these. This is sort of a wild card either way, right? Could be mine, could not be. There's not really anything saying it would ever have to be. That doesn't mean we can mark it. The clues we can see now don't say that this has to be a mine, but another clue we uncover here might say so. So anyway, if this is a 3, no mines in these 3 cells. If this is a 0, then there is a mine here, and there could be mines there. So that doesn't seem immediately obvious. All right, what am I supposed to look at, hint mode? There. Why? This being a mine, I see. So that would be kind of important, wouldn't it? This is this is the same property as the other puzzle that we gave up on, right? Although, where did that puzzle go? It's not down here, is it? Did we accidentally solve it? No, we solved that one at least. I thought we were looking at a different puzzle. I'm sure we were, and I guess something we did recently must have solved it. I thought we had skipped one, but... where 2 less than regions join is special, because a mine there reduces the size, the mine budget by 2 instead of by 1 for the rest of these areas. And in this case, there's a mine budget of 2 between this region and this one, right? So a mine here completely clears both of these, which is impossible because it would create a conflict in this area. But how do we... I don't know a way to encode that, like, specialness as a region. Well, no. Because in some sense, like, the only way you get to do OR in this game is with these alternation rules, right? If these two said 1 exactly, then I could put a 0 or 2 in, like, this area, right? And in that way kind of reflect that this is special. It being on causes a difference of 2 on the outside. But we already have that rule. There's a reason it's not applicable here. We don't have a 1 constraint. There's not even, like, 1 in the trash. We trashed some junk. That's whatever. I think another thing I could maybe do to cut down on the trash is, like... Yeah, actually, here's a simple cleanup. Like, maybe we can do some optimizations. No, I don't want to do the rule constructor. Show me who made you. And then just say... only do this if there's at least 1 space. No. Wait, that's silly. That wouldn't make a difference. What I should do is say don't do this if x is 0. And we do have a way to say that. which is to write x plus 1 plus here, and x plus 1 or x plus 2 there. That way, this 0 never gets created. So maybe that's something I should do, is just go look at my things in the trash and see what generated them. And just like stop doing that. So basically here, I shouldn't do this if x is 0. That's, again, relatively simple. Just reframe x. So put x plus 1 here, and here x plus y plus 1. And if I refresh the regions, that region still gets made. What was the rule I was just looking at? I wish I could go like... Because now it looks like I have two regions that are the... So two rules that are kind of doing the same thing. Annoying, but... This should be y plus 1 or more. And this is x plus y plus 1. So, is that... I mean, I think that's the same, and I just wrote the same rule with, like, a different constraint here. And I swapped the meanings of x and y or something. I don't know. Anyway, that now doesn't get generated. Who made you? Okay, this is basically the same as what we did a minute ago. X plus 1 or more. And then take x plus 1 in the x or x plus 3. This is like that. So maybe I should have done this a while ago. It would make churning through levels faster, right? We're not actually accomplishing anything, but we're producing fewer junk regions. So who made this? Again, it generated a y or more. So we want y to be at least 1. And this should be x plus y plus 1. I feel like this is more general than the last rule we looked at, because it has like the same constraints but a minus there. I don't know. X plus y plus 1. Refresh again. No one creates that. So here, hopefully, like now it at least looks less stupid, right? There's a 2 or fewer. Okay, yes, it's a 2 or fewer in 2 squares, but we can say only do this if there are at least x plus 2, right? Because if there's only x plus 1, then we're just going to delete the rule anyway. Now we're getting somewhere. I don't know. No, okay, I mean, still, this is easy to fix. By just saying, don't do this if... Well, there's actually 2 ways we could fix this. One would be to say, only do this if there's y plus 1 or more here. The other would be to say, don't do it if y is 0. But I think that's actually less general. Just say, don't do it unless there's there's y plus 1 or more there. Right? In fact, maybe that's how I should have been doing all of these. Is limiting the region size rather than incrementing what x is. Because that handles all the same cases, right? Refresh, good. You only do this if there's at least x plus 4 there. And now we do this region without generating any, or this puzzle without generating any trash, which is nice. And the hidden rules, I mean, you know, the 0 or 1s, I don't love them, but I think I do have, like, obviously they're strictly less, they're the same amount of information as 1 or fewer, and I think I have better rules for handling 1 or fewer, but I'm not sure, so I don't mind leaving these alone. we go back to hint, it's the same issue, of course. Like, but I mean, I think I can do this with just 3 regions, but I don't know a clean way to do it yet. Right? I could say there's at least one. Wait. No, I can't. So if there were 3 here, there'd be no mine there. If there were 0 here, there'd be no mine there. But it's sort of for different reasons, right? It's coming at it from this side or from this side. And I can't really say that, like, this square imposes a restriction on both of these, I don't think. I mean, I could. No, could I? Not really. Well, okay, maybe I'm looking at the wrong regions. Not really, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see a good way forward there. Okay, we got one of those as well. Nice. And the hint here, is it... Well, it should be... I'll zoom in, why not? Nothing else to look at here. On a bunch of stuff in the trash. I mean, I don't know. I guess off camera, since I'm not going to do another video, I'll go clean some of that stuff up. But what is going on here? The issue, I guess... Yeah. The issue is that if there's at least one of these 2, then there's at most one in this whole region. Which means that these guys each need 1, right? So there ends up being 2 here, and then that fills the region. Why don't I have that rule? Because it seems fairly straightforward. Like, I don't want this 1 or more, really. Do I? Actually. I see. The issue is that the 1 or fewer here isn't getting generated at all. Well, that's part of the issue. I think. There's at least 1 here. Wait. Why did I say there's at most 1 here? That doesn't seem right. It is right, though. Because... And I think it's because these are exactly 2s. I think we need both the greater and less than aspect of them. Well, no, not really. If I grab the 2 or more here, and the 2 or more here, and I hide the 2s, I don't know if hint mode is going to say oops, those should, I want the 2 or fewers. I don't actually know if hint mode is going to say there's a solution here. It might say that, it might not. I think it wouldn't, right? It'll say there's no solution. Yeah. But there is a new region we can draw, which is like combining these two. So didn't I write a rule just like this very recently on this episode? Yeah, I wrote this that like says, oh, you know, when 2 mores interact with a fewer, then create a more that's their overlap. But I don't have the inverse of that, which is when 2 fewers overlap with a more. So perfect. Let's write that then. And we need a few variables. When there's an x or more overlapping, actually, let's use x and y up here. X or fewer, y or fewer, overlapping with a kappa or more. Don't really care about the sizes of those regions. I don't even care if this x or fewer goes outside, right? If like there couldn't, yeah. As long as... Do I care if there's a place where all 3 of them overlap? I don't think so. Like if this 1 or more reached up into here, that would just be an even stronger constraint on the 2s, right? In that case, we can say there are is this really going to help? I guess what I want to do, well, no, I want to put a 1 or fewer here, but I'm not sure how to justify it. It's not a 1 equal to kappa, right? I think I have to like reframe and like add kappa to these implicitly so that I can subtract it later, kind of. Because... Oh, you know what? This doesn't quite work the same way I thought it did. I'm not sure I can generalize this to all variables. Because the important thing here is that a 1 or more has to place at least one of its mines into at least one of these 2 areas. But if this were 2 or more, I could still only subtract 1 from this group of 2 regions, because it could put 1 here and 1 here and decrease them each by 1. So I don't think I can subtract off a whole kappa. I don't think I can ever subtract off more than 1, right? So I guess what I actually want is to say if there's kappa plus 1 or more, just to make sure it doesn't trigger when kappa is 0, basically, then There's like... Oh. There's a number here that's one less than the smaller of x or y, but I don't know which is smaller here. So but I think I can constrain one to be smaller than the other by not having this x be unlimited. Well, let's not have y be unlimited, say. But say there's an x plus y or fewer here. This way I can guarantee that this region is larger, right? But that doesn't actually let me write the rule I want. Because I could say, oh, okay, sure. Now there's like x plus y minus 1 in like this area. But in that case, that would be 3, right? Which would not help me. I need to somehow know which of these two is the smaller one so I can subtract from it. Well, no, hang on. It doesn't work if the numbers are different, does it? Because the one could just go into the region that's bigger. So actually, I should just be using x and x here. And then this can be y or more. Y plus 1 or more. Right? We can finally say, I think... Oh, but these have to be incremented. We have to choose x as 1. X plus 1 or fewer on both sides. Then there's actually only x or fewer where they don't overlap with this. Illogical. Why? It'll tell me if I ask, but why? I want to figure it out myself first. Also, I don't know if I've ever looked at... Oh, I see. Right. I have looked. It doesn't... It chooses a concrete case for you. Oh, I think I covered too much space, right? It should be just where the two of them overlap. Yes. And that will put a 1 or fewer here. Which I think helps with the original. Yeah, because then this 2, this was originally a 2, would have to put a mine here. And then we'd have to put a mine there. And then some good things would probably happen, right? But let's be careful and say, right, that there's at least... x plus 1 squares there, because otherwise writing this region is stupid. This is a habit we should have. Anytime we write a variable-sized region, we should make sure it's not, like, stupid. Hey, done. This still doesn't solve. Yeah, okay. Okay, well, we got almost the first 3 columns in hex mode, and I think I am still going to stick with my guns and declare the end of the series for now. You know, I recorded this, like, 2 weeks before you guys are watching it, so maybe I've changed my mind, but probably not. Hope you all enjoyed this, and if you like the game, you know, do check it out. It's like $5 on Steam still, I think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.